Have you ever been walking along the beach and secretly hoped you would find a message in a bottle or that jewel necklace that Rose had from Titanic? Well, the world doesn't quite work like that. In this world, you find crazy, unthinkable things that'll shock you to your core. Which is more fun if you ask me. From gigantic squids to thousands of snowballs. Here are 15 of the strangest things that washed up on beaches. Number 15. Dead sperm whale with tons of garbage in its stomach. One of the great and horrible disasters of all ecological harm that we can cause as human beings is the enormous amount of garbage we produce. And where does a lot of it go? Well, into the oceans of the world, unfortunately. One of the results of all of our dumping is that wildlife gets tangled up in this garbage, or in the case of whales, they end up eating it by mistake. In Indonesia, a sperm whale would be found in a national park and had nearly 6 kilograms of plastic waste, which included 115 cups, plastic bottles, bags, sandals, and a sack with more than 1,000 pieces of string in its stomach. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that all the garbage was the cause of the whale's death, but I'm sure that having all that crap rumbling around on its insides didn't help at all. Indonesia is ranked as second behind China in a 2015 study of mismanaged plastic waste from populations living near coastal areas in over 192 countries. So it's no surprise that this is what they ended up with in the end. You need to step up your game, Indonesia. The wild sea life in your area is counting on you. Number 14. Mysterious sea monster washed up on Seram Island. One of the other terrible and sometimes terrifying effects of all the garbage pollution is that sea life can become genetically altered as a result, creating invasive species that destroy the delicate ecosystem of wherever they find themselves. Back again in Indonesia, imagine that, they found what at first appeared to be some kind of sea monster, kind of like a not-so-nightmarish version of the fancy topic. Initially spotted on the shores of Seram Island, the blob of flesh was so badly decomposed that nobody really had any idea exactly what it was, with some people even suggesting it may be a giant squid. That was until a few weeks later when scientists were able to identify it as a baleen whale. The scientists were able to come to the conclusion by piecing together the skeletal remains. Now, if any of you have ever seen a dead sea animal wash up onto the shore, there's one major thing that strikes you when you first approach it. Apart from how disgusting it is, the stench is going to hit your nostrils really hard. It's a very distinct and really bad odor, so if you do find something washed up like that, be sure to keep your distance. Number 13. Giant snowballs the size of beach balls wash up on beach in Siberia. Now this one's just kind of super random. I mean, imagine you're walking along the beach and you see a really huge herd of these really well-rounded snowballs. You could have such an epic snowball fight with them as well, though they are probably super hard. All the better then, because it would make that snowball fight even more dangerous with the added spice of danger. The snowballs spanned an enormous 11-mile stretch of the coastline, and the size of the balls ranged anywhere from the size of a tennis ball to almost 1 meter across. They're the product of a rare Arctic process where small pieces of ice form and are then rolled by wind and water, ending up as giant snowballs. The beach itself is located in the village of Nida, which lies on the Yamal Peninsula just above the Arctic Circle. The locals who live in the village said that they've never seen anything like that before. And all of you who are looking to have the biggest snowball fight in the world, with basically unlimited ammo, well, now you know where to go. Number 12. Rare sea serpent oarfish found. Not all things that wash upon shore are dead or weird or a buttload of snowballs, but every now and again you get something that's truly rare and scientifically significant. This can offer scientists the opportunity to investigate and learn more about such rare animals as the majestic and mystifying oarfish. Discovered dead on the shores of Catalina Island, roughly 22 miles off the coast of Los Angeles, the large fish would stun Tyler Dvorak as he was scanning the coast for anything of interest. Dvorak works in the Catalina Island Conservancy and took photos and wrote the report about the spectacular animal. Now, oarfishes are not really known for their shiny beauty, but this is also because the fish is often seen swimming with its head set vertically, which is what gives the fish its name. It kind of looks like an oar floating in the ocean. This fish came in at a height of 14 feet long, though the fish is known to be much longer. The oarfish they found on the beach appeared to be missing its tail. Well, they almost got the full picture of it. Maybe next time you'll get the full fish, Mr. Dvorak. Number 11. T-Rex-like fossil. Now, this would be a super sweet find on the beach. A mother flippin' T-Rex fossil. While it didn't exactly wash up on the shore, it had actually been there for roughly 80 million years according to scientists. But still, actually it doesn't even look like a fossil when you first gaze your eyes upon it. It just looks like another rock on the beach. So many people must have just walked right by all that time, but a trained paleontologist actually spotted it and began to research it immediately. The fossil is a partial left thigh bone of what's called a theropod dinosaur. This is a group of two-legged carnivorous dinosaurs which include velociraptors, Tyrannosaurus rex, and modern birds, and they're found on the shores of Sucia Island State Park in the San Juan Islands. And scientists, well, they actually believe that the dinosaur died further south than where it was currently found. This is because of the shifting of the Earth's plates over the millions of years that it had been there. Over the next year, paleontologists from Burke would carefully work to extract the fossil in its already fantastic condition. The fossil is 16.7 inches long and 8.7 inches wide. Now, they aren't able to identify the exact family or species that it belonged to because the bone was not complete, but it's still pretty cool. Number 10. Jelly-like blue creatures. Here are some more things that washed up on shore, from the beaches of Oceanside to Pismo in California. These things looked like rocks at first, but it was their shiny qualities that made some people take a second look. And when they did, they actually saw that these were not rocks, but little blue jellyfish that scientists had predicted would wash upon shore. After the winds had shifted and the waves brought these little guys ashore, the people who saw them first freaked out because, jellyfish can sting the crap out of you sometimes, and then you gotta have your friend pee on you. But scientists did reassure the people in the area that these jellyfish are quite harmless, though they still advise people to keep away because coming in contact can cause mild skin irritation. Also known as by-the-wind sailors, these jellyfish get their names from the fact that, as put before, they get pushed around by the changing winds and tides. Though they're usually found bobbing offshore, this was a pretty special year, and though if I'd have seen them, I would have avoided them like the plague, because jellyfish give me the heebie-jeebies. Number 9. Enormous purple sea blobs. Keeping up with the blob-like animals washing ashore theme and things that give me the heebie-jeebies, we have some big old purple sea blob things that washed ashore on some beaches in California. And what is it with these things just wanting to wash up on shore in California? Is California really that cool to see? I don't get it. The blobs would later be identified as sea slugs, gross, and some experts say that this occurrence is happening now because of rising sea temperatures pushing the slugs toward more coastal waters. These blobby buddies are harmless plant eaters, so nothing to fear out of them, except their weird-looking appearance. Scientists are also puzzled by how big these slugs actually were, and why there were so many of them this year. A full 22 of the slugs would be spotted. Also, the slugs can reach up to about 15 pounds or more, and 30 inches in length. They've been given the nickname sea hare because their thick antenna resembles rabbit ears, which kind of makes them cuter and a little less nasty, because bunnies are adorable, right? Number 8. A giant squid. Now, finally, we get to a giant squid on our list. I was hoping that one of these things would turn up. These are some of the more mythological creatures / animals in the lore of seafaring people. Deadly and awe-inspiring in equal measure. It really must have been a real shock to see something this gargantuan lying dead on a beach. The squid had washed ashore at LA Arena Beach in the Spanish community of Cantabria and came in at about 30 feet in length, weighing a whopping 400 pounds. Scientists had announced that it was a member of a family that is home to the largest invertebrates on the Earth. By some act of chance or fate, there had been an underwater photographer in the area just as the squid was washing up, and he caught some truly amazing photos of it before it started to dry. While it also did break a record for its size, the giant squid also claims the animal kingdom's largest eyes, which can be as big as a human head. This is so that while they're in their natural habitat, which is some of the deepest parts of the ocean, they can see a whole lot more properly. Number 7. Pickle-like creatures. I would most definitely consider myself a pickle man. I love putting pickles on everything. I even put pickles, on my hot dogs, on my peanut butter and jelly. Seriously, everything. Though these sea pickles that washed ashore in Oceanside, Oregon, they don't look very appetizing. In fact, they look gigantic, clear hamster poops or something like that. Maybe I'd throw one on a nice burger or something, like my dad always says, you shouldn't knock it until you try it. Anyhow, millions of these pickle-looking things, actually called pyrosomes, would wash ashore, with each of them being made of hundreds of individual organisms. Their arrival on the shore was very disconcerting to local scientists, however. They're not specimens that are native to the area. Now, normally they would be found in warmer climates like in the tropics, but somehow global warming ended up in Oregon. The local scientists also said that while the pyrosomes are not harmful washed upon the shore, they could negatively impact life offshore. If enough of these were to pile up on the seabed, they could cause what's called a dead zone in the area, and the ones that did wash up, however, will likely disintegrate over the course of a few weeks. Number 6. Giant pipes. What? How can something so absolutely gigantic just wash ashore like this? Pipes don't exactly float, if my memory's working correctly. They're really huge. However this is possible, the people of Norfolk were treated to these eyesores one morning, and they didn't realize the size of the pipes until they got down to the beach to inspect them. The pipes originated from a towing ship headed to Algeria and came loose falling into the sea. The project, as is to be expected from such a huge pipe, was a very considerably large one. The pipes were actually made out of plastic though, and were 8 feet in diameter, with the longest beached segment coming in at 1,574 feet long. The pipes washed up specifically at Winterton and Sea Pauling, with the beach security forces confirming that there was no toxic danger or any harmful nature to the pipes for that matter. After they were found, they were then shipped off to Norway to await the next leg of their journey. Number 5. Giant Lego Man. Now this is definitely another super cool thing to find washed up on the shore. A giant Lego man. I used to play with these things all the time when I was a kid. Or maybe I still do. So finding this would have sparked some serious nostalgia and flashbacks, and I would have definitely taken it home and messed around with it for months afterwards. The Lego man washing ashore was no coincidence, however. It was the act of a Dutch artist named Igo Leonard, and he painted "No Real Than You Are" on its front side. Even a spokesperson for Lego did confirm this, and also confirmed that the Lego man was to be displayed in London at the time. By the way, the guy's name is Igo, like Lego, for those of you sharp enough to catch it. The figure comes in at 6 feet tall, sporting the colors of red, green, and that classic shade of yellow that all Lego men have, discovered by Brighton resident Peter McNiven, who said that he spotted the figure in the sea while walking to work, though he didn't take it home, because he wasn't brave enough. Or perhaps he hated Legos. Number 4. Mystery sea creature washes up. Now we have another mystery on our hands. This mystery blob washed up on the shores of Mexico and then went on to confound everyone who came upon it. Because this blob really does look like just some weird blobby thing, it's a safe bet to say that it's probably a whale. Coming in at 13 feet long, the creature would wash up on the Bonfil Beach, a popular tourist spot in Acapulco, Mexico. Now imagine being on a relaxing beach vacation in Mexico, swimming around and minding your own business when you see this huge gray blob on the beach next to you. That would probably be pretty off-putting, to say the least. In the end, the blob was so blobbish that no one was even able to pinpoint exactly what it was. But like I said, all of the best guesses land on it being some kind of whale, or perhaps even a squid. I kind of feel like the ocean is as full of as many blobs as there are animals. Number 3. Thousands of Kinder eggs. Oh boy, do I love me some Kinder chocolate eggs. And yes, that did wash ashore. It was actually a bunch of the chocolate eggs. Not just some obscure animal's eggs, but real Kinder eggs. Tons of bags of these delicious snacks were knocked off of a freighter not far from shore, and surprise, it was chocolate eggs for everyone. The freighter in question had been getting slammed during a pretty bad storm not far off of the German town of Langeoog near the Dutch border. The mayor was pretty angry about all the litter, actually. So what would you do in this situation? Well, that's right. You let all the local kindergartners go on an egg hunting adventure. It's a pretty elegant solution if you ask me. The mayor, whose name is Gerels, said that if any foreign companies or institutions saw this as thievery or the like, they were more than welcome to come and clean up all the little small plastic objects littering the once tidied beach themselves. I like the cut of this mayor's jib. Well played, Mr. Mayor. 2. Millions of red tuna crabs. And here we are back in California for some further stories in our washed ashore adventures. Now, what could it possibly be this time? Well, how about millions of red tuna crabs? Millions of them. There were so many of them, in fact, that when they came in with the tide, the water was actually red. And it must have looked like blood, which is super cool. The occurrence, like many others on our list, was highly abnormal for the area and even the world. Scientists said that this happening is a signal of a shift in weather for the Southern California city, and they came in so thick that locals had to use huge paddles to try and clear them out. I just wonder if any of the local fish had a huge feeding frenzy/buffet. The crab's normal habitat is near Baja California, and that forces scientists to believe that warm water is drawing them further north. Strange and inexplicable, warm patches in the Pacific now go from Southern California all the way to the Gulf of Alaska and the Bering Sea, which could totally explain why all these fish and other animals have been washing up on California shores. Number 1. Bizarre dolphin-like sea creature. What's dolphin-like? Has sharp teeth and no eyeballs? This thing. This is what it would look like if a dolphin had the devil's baby. A totally nightmarish creature that looks like it could eat your soul. But if you squint hard enough, it's kinda cute, maybe? It's literally a dolphin without the fins or the eyes. And it has super freaky sharp teeth. This spawn from hell would first be spotted on the beaches at Destilladeras in the western Mexican state of Jalisco, and quickly drew a crowd of onlookers who were curious about the unknown thing. The fact is that it has no eyes, and that would lead scientists to believe that it came from somewhere deep in the darkness of the ocean where eyeballs are not a necessity. Even if this is the case, they have no clue how it washed up on shore from so deep and far away. There was, unfortunately, no conclusion as to exactly what it really was. Some said it was a type of eel that somehow combined with a dolphin, but that's pretty unsatisfying of an answer to me. What do you think it is? Any crazy theories that you can come up with? Leave them all in the comments below for me to comb through.